Hello students, so this is our part 7 session in the chapter atoms. As you know that in the previous class I was explaining about the derivations of orbital velocity of the electron as well as total energy of the electron in an nth stationary orbit. And today for the present class I would like to discuss the further concept of this chapter, that is nothing but frequency and wave number of the spectral lines of hydrogen atom. So frequency and our today's concept is frequency and wave number of spectral lines in hydrogen atom. So here we are going to derive some simple expression for the frequency as well as a wave number. So what we are going to study here, we are going to study about the relations for frequency as well as wave number. So we are going to obtain one simple relation for determination of frequency of the radiation emitted when electron is making a transition from higher orbit to the lower orbit. So in order to study this one, so here we would require to know the Bohr's third postulate. So once I am going to explain that Bohr's third postulate here, so with the help of that third postulate we can able to proceed the determination of this frequency as well as wave number of the spectral line. So what Bohr's third postulate states, when an electron makes a transition from a stationary orbit of higher energy state. So what is Bohr's third postulate states? When an electron makes a transition from stationary orbit of higher energy state. Say for example, the stationary energy state say E2 and corresponding to the orbit say N2. When an electron makes a transition from a stationary orbit of higher energy state to the stationary orbit of lower energy state, that is E1 and it is N1. So during this process it emits a radiation and that radiation has got energy that is equal to h nu, and this energy will be equal to what? Difference between the final and initial state energies of that orbits. So here N1 corresponding to the energy of the orbit E1 and N2 is nothing but the next orbit of E1. So next orbit of N1 that corresponds to the energy E2. When electron jumps from higher energy state to lower energy state, so during this it emits a radiation, and this radiation has got a frequency nu and it has a energy h nu, and that must be equal to what? Energy difference between the initial and final state. So generally, so now I am going to consider this is for hydrogen atom. Suppose if I take hydrogen atom, generally when an electron is in lower energy state, so let us consider an hydrogen atom and treat that the electron of the hydrogen atom is in a lower energy state. So which state of the orbit is to be called as lower energy state of the electron? Generally, whenever electron is there in the innermost orbit, so that orbit of hydrogen atom, say n is equal to 1. So for the first orbit, we call it as what? Normal state or ground state of an atom. So generally, when electron belongs to the innermost orbit, that is nothing but first orbit, then such a state is called normal state, or that is a ground state. We call that state as normal state or ground state. So whenever electron makes a transition, so then whenever the electron is belonging to the first orbit, then we call it as normal state or ground state. Suppose if some amount of energy is absorbed by the electron in a normal state, then it is going to excite to the higher energy state. So whenever the electron is revolving around the nucleus, say in a first orbit, n is equal to 1, then it is called normal state or ground state of an atom. When this electron absorbs some amount of energy, then what happens? It jumps to the next orbit. So while jumping from first orbit to the second orbit, listen here, it not remains here only for longer duration. It will stay in this orbit for a time of 10 raised to minus 8 seconds. Within that time interval, once again it comes back to its initial state, or initial, that is a normal state, by emitting the radiation of frequency h nu. So therefore, if I take this pictorial representation like this, so if an electron jumps from the higher orbit, say E2 to E1, already it has been excited from N1 to N2, then within a time interval of 10 power minus 8 seconds, it is coming back to its initial state E1 by emitting energy h nu. So therefore, according to the Bohr's third postulate, h nu is equal to E2 minus E1. Say here, E1 is nothing but the what? E1 and E2 be the energy states corresponding to the N1 and N2. Say, then, so h nu is equal to E2 minus E1. So for hydrogen atom, we have a generalized expression for energy. Okay, for hydrogen atom, we have a generalized expression for the energies. So already in our previous class, I was explained about how to calculate the energy of the orbit corresponding to the what? Nth stationary orbits. With the help of that equation, now we shall proceed this. So therefore, we know that E is equal to minus 1 divided by n square mz square e to the power of 4 divided by 8h square epsilon naught square. So this is the energy of the electron in an nth stationary orbit of some particular. In general, the energy of the electron in an nth stationary orbit for a given atomic number z will be this equation. So here I am specifically mentioning that the hydrogen atom. So obviously z becomes what here? 1. So if z becomes 1 here, then say I want to calculate the energy corresponding to second orbit E2, and the energy of E2 is corresponding to the orbit number N2. So therefore here orbit number I have to replace as N2. So therefore h nu is equal to E2 minus 1 by N2 square m z square, that is 1 square 1 m e to the power of 4 upon 8h square epsilon naught square minus E1, energy corresponding to the orbit number N1. With the help of this equation, I can write it as minus, already minus is there, so therefore minus into minus it becomes plus N1 square m e to the power of 4 divided by 8h square epsilon naught square. So therefore h nu is equal to, this I can write it as m e to the power of 4 by 8h square epsilon naught square into 1 by n1 square minus 1 by n2 square. Simple mathematics. So therefore, frequency of the spectral line emitted by the electron when it is making a transition from E2 to E1 is nu, and this nu is given by m e to the power of 4 divided by 8. This h will comes to denominator, become 8h cube. Instead of square it becomes cube, epsilon naught square into 1 divided by n1 square minus 1 by n2 square. So what we are doing, we are finding the frequency of the spectral lines emitted in case of hydrogen atom when an electron of hydrogen atom making a transition from higher orbit to the lower orbit, that is N2 to N1, N2 to N1. And this was done by Bohr's theory. With the help of Bohr's theory, we are deducing this relation. And Bohr is practically predicting about the what? The origin of spectral lines in case of hydrogen atom. So it was the demerit of Rutherford. Rutherford unable to explain about the origin of spectral lines, but Bohr is able to explain, and his theory is account for the origin of spectral lines in hydrogen atom. And how it is? So with this help of equations. So next, so nu is equal to m e to the power of 4 8h cube epsilon naught square. See here, so this is the relation for finding frequency of the radiation emitted when an electron making a transition from higher orbit to the lower orbit. So please make a note of this equation, because these equations are very important as per competitive examination is concerned. So next, we know that the frequency of the radiation, so frequency of the radiation can be related with the speed of light as c is equal to nu lambda. So this implies nu becomes c by lambda. So now in the place of nu, I am going to substitute c by lambda. Then equation becomes c by lambda is equal to m e to the power of 4 by 8 h cube epsilon naught square into 1 by n1 square minus 1 by n2 square. So this implies what? 1 by lambda is equal to m e to the power of 4 8 h cube epsilon naught square into c. C is speed of light. So 1 by n1 square minus 1 by n2 square. Now, so this is expression for frequency. So now I obtained the expression for wavelength. 1 by lambda is equal to m e to the power of 4 by 8 h cube epsilon naught square and c. Then Bohr said that this complete bracket quantity m, mass of the electron, charge of the electron, this is Planck's constant h, permittivity of free space epsilon naught, speed of light, lambda, wavelength of the spectral line. So n1, lower energy state or lower orbit. So that is n2, higher orbit, say second orbit you think, n2. So therefore, then Bohr treated this complete thing as a one constant, and that constant he called as Rydberg constant, and this constant was already observed by the person Balmer, John Jacob Balmer, while explaining about the spectral series of hydrogen atom. So once again he also notices here that Rydberg constant, so we call this constant as Rydberg constant, and the value of this constant is found to be 1.097 into 10 raised to 7 per meter. So this is the value of this constant. And in place of this complete bracket quantity, I am going to replace it as R. Then the equation becomes 1 by lambda is equal to R into 1 by n1 square minus 1 by n2 square. So this formula is exactly same as Balmer empirical formula. This formula is same as Balmer empirical formula. So generally here instead of 2 I have n1, but if you look at the Balmer's empirical formula and this one, so almost they are nothing but the what? Same. So instead of n1 equal to 2 I have generally n1. I have mentioned here orbit number. So Balmer series, the lower orbit must be, that is n1 should be 2 here. So thus Bohr's theory is successful for predicting the origin of spectral lines in case of hydrogen atom. So once if you look at the equations, so here also we have considered the energy equations which are developed by Bohr in his theory. So with the help of his mathematical theory, we obtained that origin of spectral line, we calculated about frequency of this spectral line, and we are also reporting about the wavelength of this spectral line. So thus Bohr's theory is successful to explain the origin of spectral lines, but only for hydrogen atom. So it is only successful to explain the spectral lines for hydrogen as well as hydrogen-like atoms. So what are hydrogen-like atoms? Say for example, so next element after hydrogen is helium, so lithium, so like that we have a beryllium, so on. Okay, like that we have beryllium, so like that. Say for example, for hydrogen atom Bohr's theory is applicable. For helium atom also it is applicable, provided it must be a singly ionized. It means it should lose its one electron. It should remain with only one electron. Under that condition, the Bohr's theory will account about the spectral line origin. And even lithium also, Bohr's theory is applicable for lithium atom also, but condition is it should doubly ionize. It means it has to lose its 2 electron by remaining only 1 electron in its orbit. So under that condition, this theory will be applicable. So once again, Bohr's theory is predicting about the spectral lines of hydrogen atom, but it is unable to explain the spectrum due to complex atoms. And further, after this, Bohr is reporting about origin of spectral lines in hydrogen atom, as it was reported by Lyman, Balmer, Paschen, Brackett, as well as Pfund. The same spectral line once again observed by the person Bohr, and once again he is reporting about the spectral lines of hydrogen atom, spectral series of hydrogen atom. Spectral series of hydrogen atom, or spectral lines of hydrogen, generally spectral lines of hydrogen. Fine. So Bohr once again observed the spectral lines. So namely, he observed 5 spectral lines: Lyman series, Balmer series, and third one is Paschen series, then Brackett series, then fifth one is Pfund series. See, already we noticed about the 5 spectral lines of hydrogen atom. So that is namely, first series was done by the person Balmer, later on Lyman, later on Paschen, Brackett, and Pfund. Once again, Bohr is also explaining about the origin of spectral lines of hydrogen atom, so with the help of his theory. And for hydrogen atom, he reported once again all the 5 series, and he gave Lyman series means it consisting of all the spectral lines. So what he is saying about Lyman series means, so Lyman series also consisting of all the spectral lines due to the transition of electrons from higher orbit to the first orbit. So higher orbit to the first orbit, orbit number should be 1. When electron jumps from such higher orbits to first orbit, then whatever the emission of energy takes place, and whatever the frequency and whatever the wavelength is there, that will be corresponds to Lyman series. And this series will be lies in ultraviolet region of electromagnetic spectrum. So what is Lyman series? When an electron makes a transition N2 here, why I am writing, say that is I am representing about higher energy state, higher energy orbits. N2 must be equal to what here? 2, 3, 4, so on up to infinity to N1 is equal to 1. This is very important. So making electron transition from second to 1, Lyman, third to 1, Lyman, infinity to 1, Lyman. Then what is the wavelength corresponding to that? The wavelength corresponding to that 1 by lambda is equal to R into 1 by N1 square. So what is our N1 square? 1 square minus 1 by, that is N2 square. So I may use 3, I may use 4, I may use infinity also. So this is the wavelength formula for the Lyman series. Next, in the same way, Balmer series. So this series also consisting of all the spectral lines, and all these spectral lines, they corresponds their wavelength in the visible region, almost that is around 400 to 750 nanometer. Within that, the Balmer series correspond its wavelength in the visible region. It falls in the visible region. Andre electron higher orbit in the second orbit ಗೆ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸಿಸ್ಟ್ ಆದರೆ, not first orbit, second orbit. So it means N2 is equal to 3, 4, 5, so on up to infinity to N1 should be equal to 2. So electron higher orbit in the second orbit ಗೆ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸಿಸ್ಟ್ ಆದರೆ, ಸೊ ಅವಾಗ ಏನು ಎನರ್ಜಿಯನ್ನು ಎಮಿಟ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೊಂದು ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಫ್ರೀಕ್ವೆನ್ಸಿ ಇದೆ, ಅದಕ್ಕೊಂದು ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ವೇವ್ ಲೆಂತ್ ಇದೆ. ಆ ವೇವ್ ಲೆಂತ್ ಯಾವ ರೀಜನಿಗೆ ಕರೆಸ್ಪಾಂಡ್ ಆಗುತ್ತಂದರೆ ವಿಸಿಬಲ್ ರೀಜನ್ ವೇವ್ ಲೆಂತಿಗೆ ಕರೆಸ್ಪಾಂಡ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ n2 is equal to 3, 4, 5 to infinity to n1 equal to 2. Then what is wavelength formula becomes? Wavelength formula is equal to 1 by lambda equal to r into 1 by 2 square minus 1 by n2 square. And further, he is not only telling about the Balmer series, he also further tells about the different spectral lines of Balmer series. So what are the different types of spectral lines of Balmer series means? That is H alpha, H beta, H gamma and H delta. So he noticed that H alpha is due to transition of electron from n2, that is 3 to n1 is equal to 4. The n1 is equal to 2. Electron third orbit in the second orbit ಗೆ ಜಂಪ್ ಆದಾಗ ಏನಾದರೂ ಎಮಿಷನ್ ಆಯಿತು ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಅಂದರೆ ಆ ಎನರ್ಜಿಗೆ ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ವೇವ್ ಲೆಂತ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಆ ವೇವ್ ಲೆಂತು ಬಾಲ್ಮರ್ ಸೀರೀಸ್ ವೇವ್ ಲೆಂತ್, ಆ ಫಾರ್ಮುಲಾನಲ್ಲಿ ಫಿಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು ನಾವು. ಸೊ ಆಮೇಲೆ ಆ ಲೈನು ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಲೈನ್ ಆಫ್ ಬಾಲ್ಮರ್ ಸೀರೀಸ್, ಅದು ಹೆಚ್ ಅಲ್ಫಾ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಲೈನ್ ಆಫ್ ಬಾಲ್ಮರ್ ಸೀರೀಸ್, ದಿಸ್ ಕರೆಸ್ಪಾಂಡ್ಸ್ ಟು ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸಿಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಫೋರ್ತ್ ಟು ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್. ದಿಸ್ ಈಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಹೆಚ್ ಬೀಟಾ. So n2 is equal to 5 to n1 is equal to 2 corresponds to H gamma. n2 is equal to 6 to n1 is equal to 3. Sorry, n1 is equal to 2 only. This is fixed only. Because Balmer series is nothing but the what? It consisting of all the spectral lines due to the transition of electrons from higher orbit to the second orbit. Higher orbit means if it is third to 2 is the minimum condition. What is the maximum condition? Infinity to 2. So therefore third to 2 H alpha, fourth to 2 H beta, fifth to 2 H gamma, sixth to 2 that is H delta. So next, Paschen series. So what is this Paschen series? So Paschen series is nothing but the what? It is also a part of an hydrogen spectrum. So it consisting of all the spectral lines due to transition of electron. So due to transition of electron for Paschen series, due to transition of electrons from the, for Paschen series, due to transition of electrons, see this lies near infrared region. It lies in the close to infrared region of electromagnetic spectrum. So apart from our visible light, so still invisible radiations are there. And we clubbed them as a electromagnetic spectrum. They have some different ranges of wavelength, different ranges of frequency. So here also in atom, if you study their transition, during their transition they emit energy. These emitted energy of radiation, they corresponds to the some particular part of the wavelength of electromagnetic spectrum. So therefore here Paschen series is nothing but the what? Lies in the near infrared region. So it consisting of spectral lines due to transition of electron from n2 is equal to, so due to transition of electrons from n2 is equal to 4, 5, 6 so on up to infinity to n1 is equal to 3. n1 is equal to 3. So that is called Paschen series, that we call as Paschen series. The next is bracket series. So this bracket series lies in mid region of infrared, means it lies exactly in the middle. So this is also consisting spectral line due to transition of electrons from 5th, 6th, 7th so on up to infinity to n1 is equal to 4. This is called a bracket series. And last, that is P-Fund series. This series consisting of all the spectral lines due to transition of electron from n to 5, 6, 7 so on up to infinity to, that is n1 is equal to 5. n1 is equal to 5. And this lies in far infrared region. So it is away from infrared region. So like this, Bohr's theory also predicted about the spectral series of hydrogen atom. So thus Bohr's theory is successful in explaining about the spectral lines of hydrogen atom as well as hydrogen-like atoms such as singly ionized helium, doubly ionized lithium, triply ionized beryllium. So in our next class, we shall observe all these spectral lines as a one diagrammatical representation, graphical representation. So that graph or that diagram will consisting about all these spectral lines. So I am going to indicate the diagrammatical representation of transitions of electrons from higher orbit to the corresponding orbits of hydrogen atom. So that we shall discuss in our next class. So this is today's class. Okay, thank you.